Hey YouTube, Mr. Curious Kid here. This is my first video on my new channel, and the topic today is General MLD. Now, I've never heard of this guy before I saw his videos, and I'll go through most of them, and make video responses to them, but right now I just want to focus on this one. And basically, for those of you who don't know, General MLD apparently has a large following on GameSpot.com, some of their users. He apparently is a 360 fanboy. Yeah, you are a 360 fanboy. You seem to not care about the PlayStation, even though the PlayStation has good games. And I don't think you're completely ignorant of the PlayStation, but I think that you rather choose to make it seem like you're ignorant of the PlayStation by leaving out big games. But you know, I'll move into that when I get to my other videos later on. But today, just this first video is about how pathetic, how utterly pathetic his latest video on the whole PS3 fanboy thing. Now, in his past videos, he's been saying stuff that actually made a bit of sense, like how 360 has more games, 360 has this and that, 360's press conference was better than Sony's, which it wasn't, and I'll get to that later in my other video, responding to your E3 video. But this is so pathetic. This video is just so pathetic. I almost considered whether it was important to talk about it or not. And if you look at your comments, General, comment after comment after comment after comment is just saying how stupid the video is, how stupid you are for even making the video, and now I'm going to talk about it. Alright, so basically he said that PS3 fanboys are hypocrites because they say that they say Trey for life, meaning PlayStation 3 for life. Yeah, dude, that is very well possible, and I'll explain that 3 different ways. 1, you don't know how long somebody's gonna live. They could die tomorrow, they could die before the PS4 comes out, whatever. And that's a really simple way out of it, but I have 2 more ways, and I want you to listen to them. 2, there are people out there who still play the Atari 2600 on a regular basis. That game came out that game system came out almost 30 years ago. Almost 30 years ago. And people are still playing that. And you say that people will drop the PS3 because of the PlayStation 4? I mean, I know I will, but I'll be playing my PS3 games on my PlayStation 4 for sure. I still play my PS1 games. Like, wait, look at this. I'm going to use this as an example. I got this prepared. Final Fantasy IX on the PlayStation 1. This was my first freaking RPG. First RPG. I got this when I was like, I don't even know how old I was. I was like 6 or 7. And ever since then, I've been a Final Fantasy fan. But you seem to think that as soon as one generation goes by, people forget about the past generation and all of its games. That's not true. This is 2 generations behind. And you say that when the PS5 comes out, that all the people left playing the PS3 while the PS4 is out, they're gonna drop that and move on. Yeah, they will drop the console itself, but they will probably never drop the games. And then, because I think you knew in the back of your head that that wasn't a valid argument, you went on to say stuff like, alright, can you see yourself playing this 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, 50 years from now? And let me just go to the farthest year back, and that's 50 years from now. I'm 15 now, so in 50 years, I will be 65. And I have a Nintendo Entertainment Console. I mean, what? You don't believe me? Alright. have a Nintendo Entertainment Console. I have a Dreamcast, PS3, Wii, and I have an Xbox 360. Yes, I actually own one. I am not biased here. I am not biased. And guess what? I play the NES more than I play my freaking Wii. And that's a current generation console. So there. So that's what? That came out before I was born, but technically, that's still a 20-year-old console. That's over 20 years of history right there. And people are still playing that. They still have tournaments for games that were made back in like 1988. So that gets thrown out the window. 50 years from now, gaming hasn't been around that long. We don't know, but neither do you. So you can't tell us what we will or won't be doing with our futures. Yeah. Here's a more recent example. It's a Dreamcast game. Jet Grind Radio. My favorite Dreamcast game. Trying to figure out when this was made. I think it was, 2000. This is when this was released in North America. 2000. In 2000, I was 6. And so yeah, that's 9 years. And I'm probably still going to be playing that game even when I have kids of my own. Even when I'm your age. You're 21 apparently. And yeah. But the main problem is that you said that PS3 fanboys are hypocrites because of this. And saying Trey for life. Well, guess what? Xbox fanboys are the biggest hypocrites ever. And let me show you why. This. You may be wondering how this connects to anything. But the PSP was not bought by millions of Xbox fanboys because it had one of these. But it didn't have a right analog stick. They said, screw the PSP, it doesn't have a right analog stick, therefore it is obsolete and retarded. That's what they said. And you can quote some people on that. I'm sure you can find someone. You can find dozens of people who don't like the PSP because it doesn't have a right analog stick. But as soon as Natal was announced, you jumped right on that. So you didn't even care. Alright, so the analog stick wasn't the problem. You didn't want any analog sticks at all. You didn't even want anything tangible. You just screw controllers. You don't need an Xbox 360 controller. Just take the entire controller away and you're solid. That's what you wanted? Alright, fine. Maybe the PSP 2 will have that and then you'll buy it. No controllers, just a nice little screen, and you watch a movie and you sort of pretend that you're playing it, or they have like a little sensor camera inside of it and it sort of like controls your movements. I mean, I don't know what you want, but you are just being the biggest hypocrites in the industry. There aren't really hypocrites at Nintendo. The ones at PlayStation are barely even there, and you misrepresent them completely. And the Xbox ones are just the worst of the worst. Now, that's not it. See this Nintendo DSi? Like my PSP, my PS3, and my Wii, and my Dreamcast, this has a web browser. And you see this? This is Facebook. Yeah, Facebook. I can sign into Facebook on my DSi. But you know what? You know what you can't do yet on the 360? Sign into Facebook. But wait, what about the E3 announcement? You're right. And Xbox fanboys across the world thought that was the greatest thing ever. But let me tell you something. DSi could do it from day one. 360 couldn't do it and still can't. PS3 could do it from day one. Wii could do it from day one. Dreamcast could do it like 9 years ago. And PSP could do it from day one. So Xbox 360 is just behind. That's all I have to say. More videos coming soon.